And now for today's video, but first, just make sure you're already subscribed to the channel, because the next videos will be a series of content that will help you stay informed about everything related to the Lakers. Turn on the notification bell and select the All option. After that, we'll send you everything that comes out of the Lakers backstage. Lakers fans, we have a goal of 120 likes to hit this video. In the last video, we hit the goal in less than an hour. Prove that you're a Lakers fan and leave a like so we can hit that goal soon. We're back and the countdown has begun. There's only 1 month left until the start of training camp, and everything indicates that we'll have a very busy period ahead. With the arrival of a new head coach, fresh recruiting picks, and a series of battles between players, expectations are high. But for JJ Redick, this new phase as head coach will not be easy at all. He's been to 15 training camps as a player, but now he'll have the challenge of shaping his time with his own hands, which will lead to tough decisions about the team's makeup. Unlike the Celtics, who already have a well-defined rotation and starting lineup, the Lakers don't have that luxury. One thing's for sure, though. LeBron James and Anthony Davis are guaranteed to be in the lineup, and D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves are likely to be part of the core as well. Still, nothing is set in stone, and there's a tight race for the 5th spot. Plus, there are several other open positions within the rotation, which makes training camp a highly competitive place. Reich's biggest challenge will be making the right choices and determining who will fit into the best roles available. He'll need to keep a close eye on which players bring the right tendencies, who are willing to fight for every minute on the court, and most importantly, who can deliver consistent performance on both ends of the floor. With so many variations in the game, training camp will be crucial in determining the identity of the season and how each player fits into this new phase of the Lakers. We're about to see who will stand out and how Reich will put the pieces together to form a competitive team. Training camp will be the true test, where each player's skills, attention, and commitment will be put to the test. It's an opportunity for new talent to emerge and for veterans to reaffirm their value to the team. And now the question that remains is, who will be ready to seize this opportunity? Let's watch closely and find out together. JJ Redick has a big challenge ahead of him, and one of the main tasks will be defining specific roles for his players within the rotation. It's not just about finding who will fill a starting lineup, but also identifying who can fulfill strategic roles, such as a three-point shooting guard or a three-point shooter, still two positions that the Lakers have not filled convincingly. The role of a three-point shooting guard is crucial, especially in a league where defensive strategies and the ability to space the floor are essential. However, the Lakers are still lacking an aggressive player in that role. Reich knows this, and from what he's said about the need for skills, it's clear that he'll be looking for someone who can deliver that combination of defense and shooting. If a player can excel at that position, there's a good chance they could earn 20 to 25 minutes per game, which is quite significant. But Reich isn't stopping there. He's also looking for two-way players, those who can impact the game on both offense and defense. This opens up a huge window of opportunity for some of the players on the roster, such as Gabe Vincent, Max Christie, Cam Reddish, Jalen Hood-Schifino, and Jared Vanderbilt. All of these players have something to gain or lose, depending on how well they can adapt to those two-way skills. For Reich, this is a chance to find the pieces that will make the team function in a balanced and dynamic way. And for the players, it is time to show their worth, adapt, and earn their place in a rotation that is still being designed. Training camp will be the stage where all of this will be defined, and whoever can respond to these demands could secure an important role on the team. It will be interesting to see who will step up and take on these roles that are so essential to the Lakers' success. Vincent, Christie, and Reddish are in a unique position. They have a lot to gain because, unlike Schifino and Vanderbilt, they are not specialists in a specific area of the game. This, on the one hand, can be an advantage, but it also means that they need to show versatility and consistency to secure a place in the rotation. For Gabe Vincent, for example, the pressure is on. He will need to be much more efficient on offense than he was last season when he performed well below expectations, shooting just 30% from the field and 10% from three in the 11 games he played. If he doesn't improve, his role on the team could be compromised. The truth is that the Lakers don't need Vincent's playmaking skills as much, since D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, and LeBron James are all good at that role and can be on the court all the time. This lessens the need for Vincent in that specific role, although his defense at the point of attack is still a valued quality. But even here, Christie and Reddick are capable of filling that defensive role, which puts Vincent in a position where he needs to excel offensively to remain relevant. If Vincent can't hit his three-point shots, it's hard to justify him being in the rotation, especially when the team has other options. His defense is a plus, and he has a history of being an effective defender, but he can't rely on that alone to stay on the court. He'll need to prove that he can be a two-way player, contributing on both ends of the floor. In short, for Vincent, Christie, and Reddick, the battle for minutes on the court will largely depend on who can show a complete game, balancing offense and defense. They need to step up now, because this is the time to show they can make a difference, whether it's with a solid shot, solid defense, or ideally both. That's the versatility Reich will be looking for, and the players need to be ready to respond accordingly. For Gabe Vincent, the margin of error is very small. He'll need to shoot at least 33% from three to remain a regular in the Lakers' rotation. The team wants to use him, but Vincent needs to get back to being that two-way player, someone who impacts both offense and defense. And that's not just him. Christie and Reddick are in the same battle as well. In Max Christie's case, he's always been a two-way player, but he still needs to prove he can sustain that level over the long term. He's shown flashes of that statistically, but they've been in very limited minutes, which isn't something you can put all the blame on him. With more playing time this season, Christie will have a chance to show that he can be consistent, becoming a 35% plus three-point shooter and an above-average defender. Because of this, I see Christie as the favorite of the three to establish himself in the rotation. Cam Reddick, on the other hand, is a different story. Of the three, he's clearly the most inconsistent, but he has perhaps the most potential. The problem is that, to this point, we've never seen Reddick sustain that performance. Almost every year, he has a bright month or two that makes us believe he's finally reaching his full potential, only to have him fall off again, usually due to injuries, lack of consistency, or a combination of both. Still, you can't ignore the impact he can have when he's on form. Last season, we saw Reddick get a lot of playing time between November and December, playing nearly 27 minutes per game, more than Rui Hachimura, and more than 10 minutes more than Christie or Vanderbilt. If he starts off well again, he could very well steal minutes in the rotation. While I have my doubts about his ability to maintain that consistency, with Reddick, you can never rule it out completely. Those moments of brilliance can be enough to get him in the game, which is why, despite his inconsistency, Reddick remains a wild card, someone who could surprise and earn his spot if he can finally align his potential with consistency. Training camp and the start of the season will be crucial for all of them, and whoever shows the most preparation will come out on top. One of the most intriguing contests in JJ Redick's training camp will be this battle for the two-way role. Whoever can excel here will not only secure more playing time, but also a regular spot in the final lineup, something that could define the course of the season for many players. And while that is one of the most important battles, there are several others going on in parallel. Among them will be the battle to see who will be the most reliable three-point shooter to play alongside LeBron and Anthony Davis, who will prove to be the most productive backup, and of course, who will emerge as the hardest worker. Speaking of effort, that quality is going to play a huge role this season, especially because commitment is something you can't teach. You have to ingrain it into your identity. And this is where some players, especially guys like Cam Reddick, start to wonder. I talk a lot about commitment, or the lack thereof, when I talk about guys like Reddick, because it makes all the difference. It's not just about being a hard worker, it's about wanting to be, about making it a core part of your game and your mindset. When you look at players like Vanderbilt, Reddick, Vincent, Christie, and Wooden Pays, the level of commitment is going to play a big part in who deserves more minutes. Christian Wood, for example, is someone who, despite his talent, discovered last season that three-point shooting alone isn't enough to earn him a role on a competitive team. He still needs to show more willingness to commit on both ends of the floor. So as we watch these battles unfold in training camp, the commitment factor will always be there. Whoever demonstrates this willingness to sacrifice, dedicate themselves, and be consistent will certainly come out on top. The space is wide open, but only those with the right mindset will be able to seize this opportunity and make a difference within the team. Let's see who can step up and prove that they have what it takes to not only be a part of the team, but to be an indispensable part of the team throughout the season. Each of these players needs to be more committed on both ends of the floor. Three-point shooting, offensive production, or defense alone are not enough. You have to adopt the mindset of being the hardest worker. I expect this attitude to continue at all times, which is why I tend to favor Jared Vanderbilt in my rotation. and often even in the starting lineup. No matter what happens, you can always count on him to be a hard worker. His three-point shooting and offensive production may fluctuate with him, but you can never question his effort. Vanderbilt is always willing to risk his body for a loose ball, which translates into being a good defender and a committed rebounder. I hope everyone else I mentioned follows suit, as this kind of commitment could greatly benefit their playing time, giving them a bigger role in the rotation, and possibly in the starting lineup or even the final lineup, which I consider the most important. With all of this in mind, one can't help but wonder, what exactly is JJ Redick looking for during training camp? What qualities will make the Lakers players stand out and earn a spot in the rotation? It's a crucial time for the team, and each choice can change the dynamics of the season. Now, speaking of which, let's get to the questions. The first one is, who do you think should be in the closing lineup, D'Lo or Gabe Vincent? Well, in my opinion, it depends a lot on the moment. In decisive situations, you need to go with whoever is hotter in the game. If D'Angelo Russell is having one of his days, as he often is, he becomes a lethal weapon. In a matter of seconds, he can hit 2 or 3 three-pointers and change the course of the game, and that's exactly the type of player you want in critical moments. But of course, D'Lo isn't always at his best, and that's where Gabe Vincent comes in. When Russell isn't having his day, Vincent becomes a valuable alternative, especially with his defensive ability and his more focused and safe style. He can be the guy who can sit in the corner, ready to hit a crucial shot, while also contributing on defense, something he did effectively during his time with the Miami Heat. He's the kind of presence that pairs perfectly with LeBron and Anthony Davis, providing that combination of solid defense and accurate shooting that you want alongside your stars in the crunch moments. So it's all about balance and reading the game. If D'Lo is playing well, he deserves to be there, running the offense and taking advantage of his hot hand. But when he's not performing, Gabe Vincent offers a more stable and defensive alternative, something that's essential when playing with LeBron and AD. It's this flexibility that Redick will need to explore throughout the season, adjusting according to the pace and performance of each player. After all, on a team full of talent, knowing how to adapt and get the best out of each player is what will make all the difference when it comes to closing out games. Who do you think we can realistically get as a big-hitting center? Well, that's a tough question. The truth is that there aren't many centers of that type available right now, either among free agents or on the current roster. You could imagine Colin Castleton developing into that physical center, but honestly, I don't think that's going to happen this season, if ever. When you look at the names already on the roster like Christian Wood and Jackson Hayes, you realize that neither of them really fit that profile. Wood is a power forward with versatile offensive skills, while Hayes is more athletic, good at blocking and versatile defense, but he's not exactly the rugged center you're thinking of. Now, the need for a hard-hitting center is perhaps a bit of an exaggeration, but it would certainly be useful in certain matchups, especially against teams that play more physically. If the Lakers feel that this void needs to be filled, a trade would be the most likely path. There are a few players out there who could fill this need without breaking the bank. For example, Wendell Carter Jr. and Isaiah Stewart are names that come to mind. They are players who, in addition to bringing the necessary physicality, offer more versatility and would not be as expensive to acquire. The thing to keep in mind is that a center who only contributes physical defense has a very limited role and will not be useful in every game. Ideally, we would have a center who can be versatile and at the same time take on that physical role when needed. It's a matter of finding the right balance and, of course, being prepared to adjust the team as the season requires. So, if the opportunity arises to bring someone like that, great. But in the meantime, we can continue to look for other ways to strengthen the team with the resources we have. Thank you for watching this far. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to continue receiving the next content. Access our playlist now that will appear on the screen or in the pinned comment with all the latest news and updates from the Lakers, and stay up to date with the behind-the-scenes, highlights, last-minute controversies, transfers, everything about the Los Angeles Lakers team. Until the next video.